Live from Las Vegas, it's theCUBE. Covering Dell Technologies World 2019. Brought to you by Dell Technologies and its ecosystem partners.
Welcome back to Las Vegas. Lisa Martin with John Furrier. You're watching us on theCUBE Live from our first day of 3 days of coverage of Dell Technology World's 2019. We're pleased to welcome Matt Hausmann, Senior Consultant in Product Marketing from Dell EMC to theCUBE. Matt, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you, really appreciate finally getting the chance to get up here with you guys.
Yeah, so there's only about 15,000 or so people here. Small gathering amongst friends.
Yeah, the 15,000 of my closest friends.
Yes, and about 4,000 of your closest partners.
Yes, yeah.
So this morning kicked off with the keynote, great energy. I think one of my favorite parts was Michael Dell walking out to a Queen song. That really got me, that got my attention. But a lot of collaboration between VMware, Dell EMC,
sure.
Microsoft, great conversations, all talking about digital transformation, which of course, is all made possible in part by data.
Absolutely.
There's so much data these days and it's just not parsable by humans anymore. Talk to us about the data avalanche from your perspectives in product marketing. What are you seeing, what are you hearing from customers?
Yeah, so I come from our unstructured data solutions business unit. So we really focus and specialize and where a lot of this data growth is coming from. Images, audio, video, free text, things like that. We're dealing with that day in and day out. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, we were basically looking at about 80% of our data is no longer human parsable. So to really take advantage of it and move forward with the digital transformation, that's what we're really seeing. New techniques like artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, are really helping us ask new questions of that data and actually get more value from the data.
Michael Dell said, data is the heartbeat of digital transformation on keynote, one of his sound bites, which I liked. How are customers evolving to it? Because we saw the big data industry, Hadoop gone bigger and bigger. Data warehouse has been around for a while, but now data with AI has to be available, has to be addressable in new kinds of ways.
Right.
Where's the customer on that spectrum of the new way to use data, and what is the new way to use data?
Yeah, so I was actually giving a presentation today on data strategy for AI specifically, and the numbers we're looking at, about a third of our customers have dipped their toe into AI. So it's really, they're realizing there's value in that data, they're realizing these techniques, or new techniques are available to them. Compute's gotten faster, storage, there's been a lot of innovation there. So they can do a lot more with the data than they ever could before. But about a third of our customers have dipped their toe, and the majority of our customers are talking about doing it today or in the next couple of years.
And they want insights, that's a low-hanging fruit. Now you got IoT devices with data, strategies around IoT.
Right.
Data center, on-premise activities, has data involved.
Absolutely, I mean, these are all new, basically sources of data for us. So when I look at it from a storage for data perspective, is we just have data coming in from everywhere. And IoT with the low-cost sensors and video, this is our sweet spot. I mean, data is growing up into the zettabytes, and now we want, people want to be able to do something with it.
Unstructured data and structured data. Is there a different group that you guys arm wrestle with who's got more data? Because object store is great for unstructured. Unstructured data.
I don't think we're wrestling with each other. I think what we're doing is we're figuring out how to deliver an end-to-end solution for our customers. So we've got great products, great innovation on different sides. I mean, I don't want to get too technical in the interview today, but I mean, as we go through kind of the analytic pipeline for AI, from data preparation to model development and training, and then actually going out and scoring it in real time and doing inference, there's different requirements. So I'd say we're all in the sandbox together, and we all have a place and a seat at the table there. So
customers dipping their toe into AI, essential to have a partner like Dell EMC and Dell Technologies that understands, that's done that as well.
Sure.
In terms of dipping their toes in, they have to have a modern IT infrastructure in order to do that. What are some of the things that Dell EMC is doing to infuse AI capabilities into your storage, servers, data protection, et cetera?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think we're really doing, we're bringing a lot of innovation to bring AI to the forefront. So, you already mentioned kind of some of the areas there. On the storage side, I guess I'd call out one of our products, our all-flash scale-out NAS platform called Isilon. What we're really doing there is trying to simplify basically the delivery of data for AI. So high performance, high bandwidth at massive scale. And then we're partnering with the accelerated compute vendors, the NVIDIAs, the Intels. We're bringing that into our PowerEdge servers, delivering 10x, delivering 100x performance. And I think the other piece that we're really doing is, people have been dipping their toes. That means that we've been doing POCs, we've been doing this work for years and years. So we're taking these innovations, we're taking those learnings, and we're packaging those up into our ready solutions, into our reference architectures, really making AI simple, making it accessible, and I think more than anything else is making it faster. So that time to value that we've thought through all the things you need to think through in that space, and give you a place to start where you can really just start focusing on artificial intelligence, on the art of the possible.
Matt, I want to get your thoughts on democratization of data. We've heard that on many CUBE interviews with other interviews. Democratizing data, letting people wrangle it, not to being an expert or computer science major. So making it easier. That's one thing.
Yeah.
You see deep learning trends in AI, you see machine learning.
Yeah.
In machine learning, I mean, it's not democratized yet, but it's getting there. How do you see this democratization trend where it's just going to be kind of a natural business practice to deal with either large amounts of streaming data or any data?
Yeah. Well, I think it's been going on for a long time. I actually come from the data warehousing space. We've been talking about that for a decade or maybe 15 years, right? It really is democratizing data, democratizing analytics, be data driven. I think it's really progressed here as Hadoop came on in the big data space, and I think that's really paved the way now for artificial intelligence. The analytics software platform, that's out there, it's getting easier to use. It's integrated into the full solutions, and it's now optimized. So especially with the advent of GPUs, these toolkits are now optimized for 1, 4, 8, 16 GPUs, so you can really harness the power of the data, of the compute to do more with it. So I think it's going to continue, and I think it's making it easier and simpler.
Can you give an example of, because we hear this a lot on theCUBE, I learned so much doing these interviews, but start small, get bigger from there. It always seems to be a best practice. Give a couple examples for people watching on where they can start small with data. I mean, data's going to be big too, but I mean small project, scope-wise. What's good to get their arms around these data projects? What's a great starting point to really put the foot in the water and then ultimately full immersion?
Right. So I guess I wouldn't just start people with a data project. What I would ask them is what's the business problem they're trying to solve? So if they can identify what their need is, so what's my problem, what data do I have available, and then I would go give them a suggestion at maybe what the right solution might be. But I also like what you kind of mentioned, the start small and get bigger, so we really focus on the scale out side of it. So all of the analytic and AI solutions that I work on, we've decoupled compute and storage, which basically lets you grow either your data or your compute power independently. And so that really lets us right-size solution for whatever that business case, whatever that use case is.
Or flexibility too for the customer, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because it's not a one-size-fits-all. That's why I'm hesitant to say, hey, this is where you start. It's like, no, tell me what your problem is, tell me what data you have.
It's different per customer, there's no general purpose answer.
Right,
pretty much.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so when we have these flexible platforms where we've thought through, especially in the analytics and AI space, the requirements that you might need to have, we have partnerships in the space to give you the end-to-end solution, is you can come to us and we can really kind of help your business grow, help direct you where you want to go.
If you look into your magic crystal ball or ask the magic 8-ball, what's the time scale by which customers who are just dipping their toes in really need to get on the AI bandwagon to accelerate their business and not fall behind or actually lose opportunities? Is it 12 months, 24 months, 2 years, 5 years?
Well, I think it's an easy answer. The answer is now. They should be going out and being creative. They should be going out and taking chances. I guess the way I look at it right now is with the innovations we talked to from about compute, about networking, about storage, about the analytics software, is you have access to more data than you've ever had before, and you have all these tools to do more with it than you ever have before. So now is the right time, and I think we are starting to see some separation of companies already. Those that are going and really embracing AI, and those are kind of putting it off at arm's length. So I think there's a little bit of a separation, but I don't think it's too late. You might have to rush a little to catch up, but now is the right time. Like I said, you've never had more data, you've never had better tools, so. Yeah.
What's the coolest thing you've seen with people who are using data in a very interesting way?
So the coolest thing that I've had first person experience with was actually Sophia the Robot. You may have seen her, she's been on Jimmy Fallon, she's done a bunch of keynotes and other things like that. So we had her at our Magic of AI series 2 weeks ago in New York City. I got to spend 2 full days. So Sophia is this humanoid robot, right? She does natural language processing, image detection. She's basically like talking to a real person. So it took me about a half day before I wasn't just staring at her the whole entire day, because it was a little awkward. But I mean, this is really, they've taken multiple kind of advanced analytics techniques, AI techniques, and then put them into the kind of the art of the possible. This is where we can get to. And I'm not saying every company, every customer, that's a use case that they want to develop, but the fundamental building blocks that build her image detection, natural language processing, right? Just about every company out there can take those pieces and then and apply it to their business.
So to your point, the creative opportunities, the time is now. You can actually solve some of the challenges that could be opportunities. And there's cool examples of like the robot, which is great, futuristic use case, but there's other business use cases like could drive revenue, for instance, or change the business model of a company.
Right. So, healthcare is a big space. I think we hear about a lot, but also where we work with customers a lot. So, folks that are taking an MRI image, for instance, right? You use image detection to say, hey, what do we have in this image? Hey, maybe you have cancer. You use image classification. Well, what type of cancer do I have? You do that segmentation. Well, how advanced is that cancer? And then you add prediction on top of that. What's the best outcome? What's personalized to me? What's the best treatment? And so we're now able to shrink that down from months or quarters with a lot of guesswork now into hours and days to give you your personalized, medicine to give you.
That's real value right there. That's a great example of tech for good.
And it's tech for good. And when I talk about AI, I always try to bring in the human part of it because I think that people say AI is magic. Well, at the end of the day, it's some advanced,
machine learning.
It's advanced math on a lot of data, right? But the value we're getting, the data that we can access, the questions that we can ask of our data have a real human impact, can help us in our daily lives. And yeah, absolutely, there's going to be a business impact with it as well.
Well, I think that's a great example also of your earlier point about separating compute and storage, because then you can again, as you said, right size, you can put a data lake out there if you want, move stuff in and out and deal with it. This is the value of data, not some static, okay, made an architectural decision, see you in 10 years. Yeah, it's always fluid.
So the static, is huge, right? If you architect for static, you're not going to be able to deal with the realities of analytics. So I'm 19 years into the data analytics space. The data is always going to grow. The use cases are going to change, they're going to get more complex, and people are going to want it faster. So you really need a flexible architecture that can deal with those nuances and just know that you need to architect for change, so. Yeah.
So I mentioned when we started, we're here with about 15,000 of our closest friends. What are some of the things that you heard in your session today that maybe were surprising to you, insightful, maybe thought-provoking about how your customers and prospects and partners are looking at AI, especially the human AI collaboration?
Sure. So in my session, I was kind of surprised. People really kind of went into depth with one of our customer use cases, kind of asking very specifically, what about the outliers and things like that. So what it tells me is that people are really digging into this and they are trying to figure out how to apply it to their business. And so this different than some of the sessions from a couple years ago where AI was just this, this futuristic thing, is we're having real questions there. And then I was in our emerging technology session this afternoon, and a big part of it was really connected to the trust between humans and machines, and then also the trust between machines and humans. So, there's a lot of thought-provoking things going on right now, and I think where I've been surprised at is really the acceptance of AI into our lives, right? We all have our cell phones in our pocket. You're no longer lost unless you want to be. You always know where to go out to eat. Your car can drive itself. Your house can clean itself, right? We've been slowly accepting these applications.
For the house part, I want to get to that one. I don't have that yet.
I want that too.
I think the Zumba, is that the name of the robot? No.
Well, Matt, thank you so much for having a lively, energetic conversation with John and me about AI. And as you say, the time is now.
Great.
We appreciate your time.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for having me.
Nice to meet you too.
All right.
For John Furrier, I'm Lisa Martin. You're watching theCUBE live from Dell Technology World 2019 from Vegas. Thanks for watching.